back everyone. In part 1, we established what strategic management is and discussed its process. Now let's roll up our sleeves and dive into the different types of strategies organizations can adapt or adopt. This is where theory becomes very practical. You will see how companies choose their strategies depending on their goals, resources, and market environment. I want you to keep in mind one guiding question throughout this session. If you were the CEO of the company, which strategy would you choose and why? There are different levels of strategies. Number one is corporate strategies. At the highest level of strategic decision making, organizations define their corporate strategies, which determines the overall scope and direction of the company. There are three main types of corporate strategies: growth, stability, and renewal. A growth strategy focuses on expanding the organization's operations, whether through entering into the new market or developing a new product or even acquiring other businesses. For example, Amazon began as an online bookstore but successfully pursued a growth strategy by expanding into electronics, cloud services with AWS, entertainment through Prime Videos, and most recently into healthcare, showing how growth can diversify and strengthen companies' position. But in contrast to growth, stability strategy is about maintaining the current course of operations rather than aggressively expanding. This approach works well for companies that are already performing well and prefer to consolidate their market presence. For example, a family owned bakery with a loyal customer base may focus on stability, prioritizing consistent quality and service rather than expanding into the new markets or expand their business by launching or introducing new branches. And on the other hand, the third type, when company face performance decline or market challenges, they often adopt a renewal strategy, which could involve retrenchment and turnaround efforts. A well-known example is IBM in the 1990s, which was struggling in the hardware business. But by shifting towards IT services, consulting, and cloud computing, IBM reinvented itself. So, demonstrating how renewal strategies can breathe new life into an organization. So, while corporate strategies provide the bigger picture at the business unit level, organizations implement competitive strategy at business unit level to establish a strong market position. This is second type of strategy, which we call business strategy or competitive strategies. Michael Porter identified three key competitive strategies. Number one is cost leadership, number second is differentiation, and the third one is focus. A cost leadership strategy aims at becoming the low cost producer in the whole industry. Walmart exemplified this approach by keeping cost minimal and passing savings onto the customers or consumers, thereby gaining a competitive edge. So, this is cost leadership. But in contrast to cost leadership, a differentiation strategies involve offering unique products or services that customer perceives as superior. The best example here is Apple. For example, Apple differentiates through innovation, design, quality, while Starbucks does so through its premium coffee experience, and Tesla by combining cutting edge technology with sustainability. So, differentiation focus on quality, innovation, differentiation. Lastly and finally, the third competitive strategy is the focus strategy, which centers on serving a specific market niche exceptionally well. For example, Rolls Royce targets the ultra luxury automobile market, where exclusivity and craftsmanship are highly valued. However, each of these strategies carries inherent risk as well. For example, cost leaders may be undercut by new competitors, offering even more lower prices. Differentiators face the risk of imitation as rivals copy their unique features, and focus players may find their niche shrinking or disappearing over time. Therefore, choosing and sustaining the right competitive strategy requires continuous evaluation of market trends, customer preferences, and industry dynamics. The third kind of strategy after corporate and business level strategies are the functional strategies. Strategies must trickle down to the functional level. Functions level, what are the functional levels? Like marketing, HR, finance, operations. For example, a marketing strategy might involve digital campaigns and brand positioning. HR strategies could focus on talent retention and acquisition or training employees for innovation. Similarly, operational strategies might include adopting lean manufacturing or advanced technologies. For example, McDonald's use operational excellence, standardizing processes worldwide to ensure consistency in quality and speed all around the world. So, these are the strategies. After this strategy discussion, what are the strategic tools and frameworks? So, when organizations manage multiple business units or product lines, managers don't make strategic investment decisions blindly. They use analytical tools to guide them. And one of the most popular framework is Boston Consultancy Group BCG matrix. This tool helps manager decide where to allocate resources by classifying business units into four different categories based on two dimensions. One is market share, the strength of the business compared to the competitors, and the second dimension is market growth rate, which means the attractiveness and the potential of that industry. The underlying assumption in that high growth requires investment while high market share brings more profitability. So, by plotting businesses on this by two metrics, managers can visualize which unit deserve more attention and which may need to be divested. So, the first category in the BCG matrix is stars. These are the business units that operate in high growth markets and hold a high market share. Stars are leader in their industries and they require heavy investment to maintain their growth and dominance in the market. For example, in its early years, Apple iPhone was a star. It operated in a booming smartphone industry and commanded a larger share of the market. While stars consume significant resources, they also have the potential to become the company's future cash cows. Second category in the business BCG matrix is cash cows, which have a high market share but operate in a low growth industry or mature market. These units generally steady cash flows with a little need for investment, which can then be used to fund stars or question marks. Google search engine is a prime example of this. It dominates the search market, which is relatively stable and generates massive profit that Google's reinvest into other ventures or other business units. The third category in BCG is question marks, which we also call a problem child. These are the business units that operate in high growth markets but have a very low market share, and they require significant investment to grow, but their future is uncertain. They could become stars if successful or fall into decline. A good example again is Google self-driving car project, Waymo, or other experimental technologies. They have great potential because of the growing industry, but the company must decide whether the investment will pay off or not. And the last category of BCG metrics are dogs. These units have low market share in a low growth industry or low growth market. They neither generate significant profits nor promise future growth. In many cases, organizations choose to divest or discontinue these kinds of businesses. So, these kinds of businesses are called dogs in BCG metrics. For example, when Microsoft shut down its Windows Phone line, it was essentially abandoning a dog. It had little market share and the smartphone market was already dominated by other players. So we can say that, the BCG metrics provides manager with the portfolio perspective, encouraging them to balance their resources among stars, cash cows, question marks and dogs. But the ultimate goal is to maintain a healthy mix, using profits from cash cows to fund question marks, nurturing stars to secure future growth, and eliminating dogs to avoid wasted resources. Now we discuss strategies in today's dynamic world. One critical insight is that strategies today must be flexible. The business environment changes very rapidly. Think about AI, digital platforms, sustainability pressures. That rigid strategies can become outdated overnight. This is why concepts like emergent strategies and strategic agility have become essential. Here is a scenario. Imagine you are running a clothing brand, competition is high, and fashion companies are dominating. Would you compete on cost, leadership strategy, or would you differentiate yourself by offering sustainable, eco friendly clothing? Which choice would you make and why? So, as we conclude today's lecture, remember that strategic management operates at multiple levels: corporate level, business level, and functional level. And the essence of good strategy is aligning these levels so that organization moves cohesively towards its mission and vision. We have seen how companies like Amazon, Apple, McDonald's use different strategies to compete and sustain themselves in a dynamic environment. We have also looked at tools like SWOT analysis, Potter's 5 forces model, BCG metrics that help manager make informed decisions. As a future manager, I encourage you to start observing the strategic choices companies around you are making and ask yourself, why did this company grow and why did another fail, and how could strategy explain their outcomes. So, thank you for joining me in the second part of the lecture. In our next section, we will look at the next important aspect of management. Until then, keep reflecting on the strategic moves you observe in business around you. Thank you.